All right, welcome to another playthrough of SCREAMWORLD Jam Games. This time I'm doing For Whom the Bell End Tolls by Cockneck. For whom content warning, crudeness, violence, and warning loud noises. I'm already excited. For Whom the Bell End Tolls is a story born of the creator's nihilistic views on society and inaction towards climate change. However, despite the characters existing in a literal apocalypse, it's unclear whether life is worse for them now, driven only by their raison d'etre and survival. It becomes clear they owe more to themselves than just that. Okay. So, already, sounds kind of cool, kind of interesting. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay, so it's like an intentional loud noise. Beautiful. All right. Interesting choice. Not sure why you would do that, but there it is. New game. That's a little loud for me. The year is, well, it's a few years after the mean global temperatures increased by 2 degrees Celsius compared to pre-industrial times. Resources, notably petroleum and water, are in scarce supply. The conflict for these resources has resulted in some trigger-happy polies jump-starting the apocalypse. I'm not sure the vernacular of polies. I'm guessing by bell end and things like that this is not American, obviously. These aren't terms we generally use, so my apologies if I miss out on some of the pronunciation of certain terms like polies or polys. Anyway, my bad. So, however, thanks to one man's promise to himself, it's more apt to call this the cockpocalypse. The cockpocalypse. Can't just throw a word like that at me. Come on, guys. Our story begins. And this looks familiar. I'm not sure what it is, but I do like the look of it. It's cool. I like the backgrounds, and you know, I'm actually into the music, even though it's kind of all right. Yeah. You stare into the mirror and see a disheveled old creature, a mutt of limitless ineptitude, the scum of the earth. You look towards the toilet and see a syringe lying on the cistern. Inject the oxytocin. You know, this is already, this sounds like somebody I know. Perfect. Let's get it started. And I have 2 ciggies, by the way. You stare into the mirror as your eyes adjust. You see an Adonis, an absolute statue of the human ideal form. You see a chiseled jaw, a strong warrior, a fucking sick cunt. Alright, I'm already assuming then this is Australian. Topping off this glorious full package is the piece de resistance. Around the neck of this seraphim, worn as an emblematic necklace, is a sizable, girthy penis, balls and all. You see Cockneck, traveler of the wastes. The doctor you stole the oxytocin from said not to use it frequently, but what's wrong with a little self-love? So, yeah, I'm glad my daughter's asleep. This is already pretty funny. And it's actually, this is actually really well written, in my opinion. This is like, let's not light a ciggy. Let's save a city. Let's save a ciggy. You decide it's probably better to save it for someone else. You certainly don't want to add to the number of cancers rotting in your dust-caked heart. No, we're definitely going to add to the number of cancers. Just wait until it's, a little later. You see a Sheila pull up in her Honda Postie. She takes off her helmet. How are you doing? Doreen, the road requests of us only that we survive, but somehow I need more. Maybe a cold brew with a good bit of head would sort me out. What do you say we get one? We'd better hit the dowsing. Go dowsing. So, yeah, this is not slang I'm familiar with for the most part. It almost feels like Mad Max meets Clockwork Orange right now. You and Doreen travel in tandem on the Postie, just down the way to a hilly expanse filled with salt brush and burnt-out station wagons. A little wooden posted sign reads, Cockneck's dowsing field is provided under a Creative Commons license. List on the board, changes made. The most recent update lists version 1.54 injected a gallon of terps into the southwest quadrant. Signed Gaslighter XO. Cockneck is left unsurprised and brandishes a large syringe, his extraction device. Fuck that mischief-making shit cunt. All right. This is like quite entertaining. I wish I wasn't sick, because now you're just going to hear me coughing, laughing. You think he's bluffing, Cocky? You give it more than a moment's thought. He's not above pulling a stunt like this, but he knows your thought process. He's playing four-dimensional lawn bowls, and you're about to be knocked into the sand. So what do? Do you believe him and look elsewhere, or do you call his bluff and dig in the southwest quadrant? Ooh. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and save. I mean, I wouldn't want to make a bad decision here, right? Let's believe him. Doreen, I think I'm going to believe him this time. But I want you to know that this was a difficult choice to make, and I'm by no means chuffed about my decision. Understood. You trudge up the field, careful to avoid the many open pits and abandoned digging equipment. You notice a man sleeping in one of these pits. You yell out to him, Oi! I didn't see your residency status in the changelog. What do you think this is, a public domain licensed dowsing field? The man just nods and scampers out of the pit in a full sprint towards the wooden post. You arrive at a blank patch in the northeast. Your previously flaccid neck cock is now disturbingly turgid, pointing directly towards a specific patch in the ground. Cocky, what in the fuck is going on? My dick can douse for exactly 2 types of liquid, water and turpentine. Gaslighter knows this, and he's exploited this clear flaw of my design before. You follow your penis to the exact point it is guiding you to, and stab your massive syringe into the ground. Exerting considerable force, you pull a gallon of clear liquid up from the depths. Is it water? Asks Doreen. You look at the syringe. I guess we'll have to test it. You douse the end of a cigarette with an unknown liquid and light it. Well, there goes the ciggy. As you light the ciggy, your world begins to move in slow motion. You see the end of the cig light up slowly, but more ferociously than you've ever seen a smoke ignite before. Immediately you put the cig out. But the flames from this weaponized cigarette scorch your nose slightly. It's the first instance of pain you've felt in many months. That fucking troglodyte. What a piece of shit. Oh well, at least he made me feel something. Return to the entrance. You return to the wooden post. A new entry has been added. It reads, version 2.0. I have taken residence in a pit, and it is heavenly. Through residency, I have land claim to this area. This is a new era. Welcome to version 2.0. Signed, Pitboy XO. Bollocks. We'll deal with this later. You make a cut in your arm and dip your cock in the wound. You use this to write a new entry in the changelog. Version 2.1. The terps in the southwest quadrant magically transported to the northeast quadrant, and I have extracted it. Signed, Cockneck XO. Drive to the bar. Cockneck and Doreen ride with Cock and Ponytail each blowing respectively in the wind, onward to the town of this particular region of the wastes. It's coming up to noon, and on the horizon a tin roof shines bright with the midday sun. A bar stands there, an oasis against the sands with a green hedge, and even a few flowers out in front of the veranda. However, the watering hole itself is just as fucked up as the rest of the place. Behind the bar is a small set of rundown, perhaps abandoned, maybe occupied, houses. Outside the bar is parked an old 2001 Toyota Camry station wagon. The roof has 2 seats on it, no seat belts, and the driving shaft has been extended to meet them. There's a flag tied around the antenna. It's a gratuitous hand-drawn stencil of a big bell end with a Bic lighter's flame embracing it. Even with the thousands of miles I probably have separated, this is all too real. I feel like the turpentine water section there is I feel like that is very much, I mean, obviously it's sort of a tech joke with the changelog and everything. I feel like it went a little over my head since I don't do that work at all, so I don't know anything about it, but I feel like that probably said more about working in the technology industry than I picked up on. Anyway, let's admire the chariot. Doreen, feast your fucking eyes on this beauty. You trot over to the vehicle, taking its grace in as you do. What's that sloshing sound, Cocky? Ha! You'll see. That's our raison d'etre. Thud. As you both reach the chariot, an audible sequence of thuds and wet pulses is heard, and there it was. Ah! What the fuck? Doreen exclaims. Through the window of the car, you see the wagon portion of your vehicle has been filled with water and reeds, and it hosts what appears to be a bloody huge, oh boy, axolotl. Ah, fuck. Thanks a lot for that one, Doreen. She doesn't like the sounds of panic. Walk into the bar. Oh, there he goes. Okay. The door to the pub is made of shitty, segmented panels of balsa wood. You pull it open, practically ripping it from its hinges, and step inside. Your eyes take it all in. All of not a whole lot, that is. Quickly, Doreen parts ways with you as she goes and joins one of the 5 occupants in this shack, one of the locals, you presume. The pub is dodgy but oddly cozy, with a pool table to your right, and immediately in front of you is the bar and server. From the back you see a man with a ferocious-looking fur overcoat. Looking down you see belts, many belts, worn around the legs of his ripped and tattered jeans. He's sitting by the counter with a blazing cocktail that burns nearly to the ceiling. He looks behind his back, looking at you. Oi, do I know you, he says. Quintessential gaslighter, you think to yourself. Yeah, go look in Antinesis? Huh. That's the first word I've gotten to that I'm not wholly familiar with. All right. Let's try to sell our extracted liquid. I can smell the fucking stuff from a mile away, Cocky. I don't need a magic toddler to tell that shit is terps, cunt. Nevertheless, I do need to clean my countertop since old maid over. The barman points over in the corner of the pub near the pool tables at some ratty-looking dreglord. There, spilled some poor soul's brains on it. Talk more to Gaslighter. Who are you again, he inquires, seemingly sincerely. Don't give me none of that, you fucking rascal-looking pest. You know exactly who I am, by this very cock slung around my neck, mate. I feel like, don't give me none of that. that sentence would just be a perfect non-sequitur. This is very well written. I'm actually surprised by how much content there is so far for a 10-day jam, and how kind of like how legit it all is. It's you know, there's a couple spelling error. Well, I only saw the one. I feel like there was another one, but I wasn't making a big deal about it. Yeah, not a lot of spelling or grammatical errors, and so obviously it's been edited. They've gone through it and looked. The writer, cock something. Anyway, let's see. All right. Look, I've never seen you before in my life, but regardless, how in this bloody hellscape are you? How in this bloody hellscape are you? You know what? I'm gonna let this one slide, but just this once. And look, I'm not well, Sparky. Oh, hey, Cockneck, there you are. You're not doing well. That's rough. Gaslighter says, back at it again. Let's open up to Gaslighter. So fess up, what's the drama? Lighter says. Look, I just think I need some help, Cockneck responds. Well, I mean, that much is clear, dickhead. Like what, clinical? Lighter says. Thinking so, mate. For how clear our goals are and the ever-present pressure to simply survive, I think we still ought to think about ourselves, our wants, our dreams. Look, maybe I've heard of a woman who might be able to help. She's apparently got a compound around 80 k's northeast of here. We should kick it and should we kick it and blow this popsicle stand? All right, Gaslighter and I are on a road trip. Oh, we're leaving Doreen. That's okay. Gaslighter and I are bros. It's great. You and Gaslighter leave the bar without Doreen, but with a glass each in a hand. You mount the chariot with the swiftness of a dingo snatching an infantile meal. Oh, God. One day we'll return these, you say as you chuck your glass back over your head into the box of dozens of others. We're truly shit cunts, aren't we, plushie? Gaslighter's talking to his old plush doll again, but you let him. It's the apocalypse. Is anything real? What inherently gives one-sided conversation with the doll any less value than the vapid small talk of two overly social men at a urinal? Fitting. Life's a piss take anyway. All right, this is quite funny. This is usually not my kind of thing, but there's enough like clever stuff happening here that it's not just crude. It's actually quite funny. Anyway, I don't need to explain that. You're laughing. The journey towards the clinic was uneventful for the first 50 kilometers. Then Gaslighter piped up, "Oi, we gotta fill her up. Stop here." You pull into a dingy petrol station with a black mold-infested sign out front reading, "Dead Animal Oil Co. We literally sell you dead dinosaur liquid to power automobiles. Fucking pay us." I guess the dinocalypse was good for birds. Hey, dickhead. Gaslighter has a point. They flourished after that. I haven't seen a bird in years, Sparky. Let's get this done, Gaslighter nods. As he fills the tank, you decided to look down the long road you came from. You see a small humanoid speck heading towards you, but you can't quite make it out due to the heat from the concrete. As it approaches, you can clearly make out that it's sprinting. Then you figure it out. Sparky! It's the fucking bartender. We forgot to pay. Aw, fuck, he's a ruthless cunt, eh? Take the chariot. Plushie and I'll sort him out. You mount the beast, and Gaslighter seems to prepare for battle. You step on the gas and make a break for it. The chariot, while sexy, obviously, is burdened by its divine purpose and tops out at 130 kilometers per hour, so it takes a little longer than you'd like, but with around 10 minutes you've arrived to what could only be the clinic. Tucked away behind the small cluster of dead eucalyptus and beside an old stormwater drain is cleverly welded series of shipping containers masquerading as a home and an odd stench of carrion. So, what's your course of action? Let's knock and wait. Look, it's the end of the world. We don't have to be rude. You wonder up to what you think is the door. I think it's supposed to be wander. It's just a dingy roller like that of your old neighbor's garage, the same one who called the ranger on your pet dog a few different occasions. Fucking daft speck of dust he was, you think to yourself. You produce a steady series of knocks on the door and wait. Who in the blazes is that? A hauntingly sing-song voice echoes from behind the aluminum roller. It's just a traveler hoping for some help. And when you open that door, please, don't mind my cock, you shout back. You're fucking what? The woman stands in the doorway, a gasp. She's dressed in AA frilly blouse with a pussy bow. Okay. Over that, an apron with stains and thigh-high stockings. Look, I've just heard you might be able to help. I feel like I need to talk to a professional. You say, now that's something I haven't been asked in a little while. Follow me, she says. Follow the clinician. Yeah. You observe the room the clinician has led you to. It's cold and a heavy musk of meat wafting throughout. The far corner has a whole array of bar fridges, some with ooze leaking from the bottom. So what help do you require of me? She asks, sing-song-like. How about we do introductions first? I'm Cockneck, hence the cock. You can call me osteoporosis. Emphasis on the sis. And this sister wants to know what you require of me, she says, smiling. Look, I could just use a psych, I think. I've been feeling like I've been neglecting my self-care for a while. And seeing as it's the apocalypse, I find it hard to find moments for mindfulness, you say. God damn it. That was something I considered myself before the fall, cock man. I think you're finding it hard to let go of aspects of your past. Osteoporosis strolls over to one of the bar fridges, opens it, and pulls out what you quickly identify as a still fleshy femur. You've seen lots before, usually attached to the owner. She returns, stands very close to you, and takes you by surprise. Clock and smash. You've been hit by upside the skull. You're fucked. Fall like a ton of bricks. You're a shitty heap upon the ground with osteoporosis standing above you. She smirks and you muster a couple of inane insults. Your vision goes fuzzy and you start to remember. The TV is buzzing and the news is blaring. Sirens are sounding and low-flying planes are zooming. The cleaver glistens in the low light and the chopping block awaits. Your friend and closest ally, Gaslighter, is pounding at the window. For the love of God, don't do it, dickhead. Mate, the door's fucking open. I can't hear you. The man who would become Cockneck beckons to the front door. In one unrestrained and lightning-quick flick of the wrist, the cleaver comes down on the schlong of this being right as Lighter walks through the doorway, steeling himself as he does. Ah, shit. I didn't think this particular part through, the man says as blood seeps from his now viscerally bleeding wound. Okay, that answers some questions. Your coat is thick. You burn with the power of methanol. Your dick is attached to your crotch. You're a gaslighter, and you decide what happens to this business-owning pest fast approaching you. Scram, bourgeois. You sit there just outside the servo, waiting for the barman to reach you. You have a plan that'll most assuredly work out. Finally, you've gotten here. See, you won't have had such a long trek if you just paid when you first bought those beverages, mate. You say, as the barman finally reaches you. Didn't I come here to ask you to pay up or cough up your blood, cobber? He remarks to Gaslighter. I have literally no idea what you're fucking talking about, friend. You came into my bar, drank my beer, and you're here asking me for payment, you confidently state. Baffled, the barman simply nods and takes off, sprinting in a direction completely new, neither toward the clinic or back toward the bar. Easier every time, eh, Guapo? You say to your plush friend. He's been a while, hasn't he, Sparky? Guapo pipes up. Fuck me, you're right. Without the chariot, it takes a couple hours in the heat to reach the clinic. With Guapo by your side, you do make it, despite the crazy, indescribable chafing and heat. You walk inside the shipping container facility and see, unconscious on the floor, cold metal floor, your good mate, Cockneck, except something is awry. Mate, where's your cock gone, you say. Go hunting. You're back at the helm, but you're like Samson without his hair, only this is worse. You've literally lost your namesake. You, right now, are just what, neck? You've got to be taking the piss, right, Sparky, you say? Lighter has done this on the odd occasion to you before, and usually the thing turns up within an hour, mysteriously. Nah, mate, look. I know I've been known to extend the truth on occasion, but I suspect she's taken it on account of this note. To Cockneck. That's it, right? And his accomplices. I am not a clinical anything anymore, but I might be able to offer you a means to alleviate your stresses along your adventures. Simply find me and I may be able to help you. You see, I'm a nurse of sorts, and you mischief makers surely get yourselves into trouble here and there. Not to mention you can have your penis back. Signed Osteoporosis XO. So where do you think she's headed to? Sparky asks. If I just got done caving in the head of some poor soul and nicked his dick, I reckon I'd be out to the hunting fields to go fetch dinner, you say. Head hunting. Okay, wow, this is quite a lot of content. I'm quite surprised. Let's go ahead and save. Yeah, I don't know how much more I have. But if this was really made in the 10 days, I'm like supremely jealous. I had struggled to get anywhere near this amount of writing done in a week. That's pretty cool. And it's very few errors considering the length. Anyway, you both fang it up the sand highway onward toward the hunting field. Once there, you see the usual, a bunch of decrepit and even at times clearly mutated lizards and mammals. They're delicious enough, but not what you're here for. With further inspection, you see her, sitting underneath the shade of the solitary lush eucalypt in this neck of the place. "Hey, boys, heard you need a medic." "I don't know where you heard that from, but I don't think I've considered my personal safety or well-being at all since the fall. That is, until today. So you know what? Look, that'd be great," you tell her, sincerely. "Okay, well, I will willingly join you scallywags, but you must know I'm a tad unconventional in my practices." At this very moment, she stands up, drags a very human-looking body from behind the tree, and rips out the spinal column, before doing her hair up in a neat bun with it. "What the actual fuck?" both you and Sparky speak in unison. "Finishing each other's sentences, huh, Cocky? We are a good team," Gaslighter says, cheekily. "Oh, and by the way, Cockneck, you don't have a ciggy on you, do you? I could really use a hit, I'll tell you what." "Absolutely." You hand over your last precious dart to your brother in arms, and as you do, he cuts a slice in his arm and holds the ciggy to it. He pulls a match out of his coat pocket and holds it close to the cut as well, and as he does, the cigarette sets alight. "Well, that's a new development, eh, Sparky?" you say, in shock. The end. All right, Cockneck, a Wiley Campbell creation. For Whom the Bell End Tolls was written by Wiley Campbell and Joseph Frank. I don't know if it's Joseph or Joseph, and I've never known. Now I've really outed myself here. In association with the serotonin depletion and disdain for society, Gaslighter and Cockneck will return with osteoporosis in the future. Okay, wow, so that is a big game. It makes sense now that two people worked on it. I don't know if this is Twine or not, actually. It seems like it. And it might be a different story style or whatever they call it. I forget now. Let's see if it says oh yeah, made with Twine. Okay. Yeah, about a half hour. Yeah, it's this is a really interesting game. Really, really pretty clever. Even with all the the really crude and childish jokes in there. I don't know how you would take it further than this in terms of like story. I mean, I know it says that they'll return in the future, but I kind of like it just as it is, I feel like where it was now is sort of the furthest it would go without wearing out its welcome. I don't know what else you would do with that personally. I mean, it's not my story, so obviously I don't have to do anything. Let's see. Yeah, there's a couple things here and there. Sometimes I just kind of didn't really, I didn't really realize that he was, that it was actually his dick on a necklace there. Also, I kind of like how the whole game could really just be contextualized as you're tripping out on drugs the whole time. That's kind of funny to me. So yeah, what a weird game. I'm kind of don't know what to say because it's such a weird game. some of the music's good and some of it is just kind of all right. Um, yeah, I don't see how it fits in with space, which is fine. It doesn't have to. And I don't see how it's horror either, which is also fine. It doesn't have to. But it is very funny. Like, I'm usually not a laugher with jokes anyway. And this is really funny. And there's a lot of like parts where I was like, just wanted to be like, oh, that's clever, but that's stupid when you say it out loud like that. I would love to see some of this, like this talent put towards a little less absurdist things. I don't know. Sometimes you're struck by whatever and you just have to go with it. And so obviously this is crude and absurd and very much like, a Clockwork Orange or something like that. But I would love to see this work towards let's say like a serious space horror game. Yeah, I'm mostly jealous that somebody could write this much in 10 days. And consistently quality in that 10 days. Very cool. Anyway, yeah, I really liked it a lot, and I feel like they should be giving me advice rather than the opposite. So I don't have much to add. Well, thank you, Wiley Campbell and Joseph Frank, for that. I might try playing through this again before the voting is over, just to see how much the story changes. But I would assume that the story kind of does what it does, and that's that. So yeah, well, thanks for watching. That was For Whom the Bell End Tolls, Cockneck. Cockneck. All right. I almost want to, I think I'm going to follow Cockneck. So yeah. Yeah. Thanks for watching. This was submitted. This had to have been submitted with 39 minutes, 35 seconds before the deadline. Yeah. Yeah. Cool game. Oh yeah. Idiocracy. Yeah. It's kind of like Idiocracy. It really just felt like I said in the start, it felt like Mad Max meets A Clockwork Orange to me. And I don't know if that's just because I don't know Australian slang that well. So it kind of had that almost fake slang sound. Anyway, great game. Might possibly win best game, honestly. If this game doesn't get top 3 at the end of things, I will be a little miffed on their behalf. So anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.